And talking about winning, that brings up an important question, because when do you consider an A/B test being a winner? And when do you decide to implement the change? So I used to work in this hotel, and I know it looks quite amazing, right? I don't know if someone already recognized in which city this hotel is. Dubai, indeed. At the time I used to live and work there, almost every week a new hotel opened. So you can imagine that the competition was really strong. And to optimize the revenue, we evaluated the room rates on a daily basis. And something that really frustrated me, because we used all sorts of data, but when we changed the room rates, it still felt as a guess. Because sometimes we could have sold more rooms for a lower price and generate more revenue than selling fewer rooms for a higher price. So yeah, we were never sure if we really were optimizing the revenue. And in a job later, I faced similar frustrations, because the website changes were mainly done on the owner's gut feeling. So at the time I found out CRO specialist jobs, I got so excited and I thought, finally, we can test the ideas, get real results, and you know what to do. You decide we're going to implement it or not. So today I will share 4 A/B tests I ran for Ziggo, and I would like to make the decision together with you guys and see if it's as simple. So for the ones, I hope everyone here in the room is a Ziggo customer, but for the ones who aren't, I will give you a quick introduction on the environment where existing customers can change their subscription. So on top of the page, you see the 3 different categories, so television, internet, and fixed telephony. And we split the products by what we call our main product. That's visible here on the top of the page. And we have what we call our add-ons. And here you see, with the main product, if you open it, this is where customers can up or downgrade to a lower or higher TV subscription. And then on the bottom is what we call then the add-ons. And that is, for example, additional TV packages like ESPN Complete. And then we recently added our streaming services, so Netflix, for example. And the last is additional hardware to watch on multiple TVs. Then you can switch to the other category on the top, so moving to the internet, and works the same. So on top is what we call the main product. Here you can up or downgrade to a lower or higher internet speed. And then again, the add-ons. In this case, it's internet security and smart Wi-Fi boosters. And then the last category is the fixed telephony. And here customers can turn on or off their subscription on their fixed telephony. So this screenshot is actually taken about 3 years ago, and at that time we just started optimizing this environment. We just had all the measurements in place, so we didn't know yet much about the customer behavior. So we decided to start A/B testing with a quite easy to build test, and one which has already been done in the prospect journey. But we still wanted to test it here because our existing customers might behave different. And what we did test was, we wanted to remove the euro signs in front of the prices, because we expected that then our product upgrades would increase and the product downgrades would decrease, because customers perceive the price differently. So this is what it looked like. So we removed the euro sign in front of the prices. We ran the test for 4 weeks, and we got the results. And then we saw there was no proven difference. So nothing changed on the upgrades and nothing on the downgrades. So as said, I would like to make the decision together with you what to do at this point. So if you can all please stand up. And if you're saying, okay, don't implement, your hypothesis is inconclusive, move on and test new hypothesis, please sit down again. And if you're saying, wait, I want to know more, let's dive deeper, stay standing. Okay, good to see quite some people are curious, but I also see some people still sitting down. So I wanted to know more, and I dig deeper. And then I actually found out that the average order value increased by 8%. So indeed, everyone can sit down again. Sorry, I will remember myself to give the instructions, otherwise you're brave and stay standing. But so yeah, the average order value increased by 8%. So removing the euro signs didn't trigger customers to upgrade more often, but the ones who already didn't upgrade chose a higher package. And that resulted into an increase in the average order value and made this a positive business case. And that's when we decided to implement this change. So my first lesson of today is, don't overly focus on just one KPI, because if we had only looked at the upgrades and the downgrades, we would have actually missed an opportunity to increase our revenue. So when A/B testing, it can be very helpful to set up a measurement framework. And when you start, ask yourself, why are we actually testing, or why are we optimizing? And in our case, it's to drive growth. And then afterwards, you set your test hypothesis, and preferably you do it on as much data as possible. But as said, we didn't know yet much about the customers in this environment because we just implemented the measurements. So we expected that the upgrades would increase and the downgrades would decrease, but actually it turned out differently. And to make sure you're not missing out on any opportunities, we also set success metrics. And all these metrics can help you to drive growth, so to help you contribute your primary objective. And in our case, it can be increasing the upgrades, as formulated in the hypothesis, but also we could increase the add-on additions, or increase the average order value, or decrease even the main product downgrades, or the add-on removes. And seeing now all these metrics, it might seem quite logic and makes a lot of sense. But for each company, it might be different. So it's good to take a moment for yourself and think, hey, what other metrics could be relevant for us and which all contribute to the same primary objective you've set? So let's move on to a new test. From our data, we know that our customers often order the add-on additions on the mobile phone, so adding an additional content package. So, for example, they're sitting on the couch, watching TV, nothing on. They want to add other content, and we know our 18+ content does very well on the weekends. But now when you land on this page, you don't see the add-on components. So knowing that this is an important device for our customers, we thought, hey, all these features which are now listed for the main product, they're also visible when you click on the call to action button here. So we thought, okay, we want to have the add-ons higher in view, so we remove all the features listed and get the add-on component in view when a customer directly lands on this page. And we did the same for internet, and we expected by increasing the attention on these components that the add-on additions would increase and the main product downgrades would decrease. I ran the test, got the results, and as expected, the add-on additions increased by 4%. And even though the attention on the component increased, the add-on removes decreased as well, so that is something positive as well. Then looking at what happened at the main product. And the upgrades on the main product didn't change, so that stayed the same. But the main product downgrades decreased as well, so also something positive, so therefore the green sign. So you know what's going to happen. Please all stand up again, and let's make the decision. So when you're saying great results, as expected, it is a no-brainer. I hear that so often in the company. Implement and continue. Please sit down. And be honest, be honest. Don't be afraid. Do what you think. And if you're saying, wait, I still want to know more, let's dive deeper, stay standing. So I'm happy so many people wanted to dig deeper because I also wanted to do this. So you can all now sit down. Because if we would have implemented this change, we would have lost 2% more customers. Because this change triggered 2% more customers to leave Ziggo. They canceled their full subscription with us. And even though we increased 3 of our KPIs, namely the add-on additions increased, the add-on removes decreased, and the main product downgrades decreased, the value of our customers leaving Ziggo made this a negative business case. So if we would have implemented this, we would have lost actually money over time. And sometimes something might look like a winner in the beginning, but it turns out being a loser. So as you can see, it can be very risky to make conclusions too quickly. So I was happy you all wanted to dig deeper. And therefore, it's very important to always set guardrail metrics. And what are guardrail metrics? These are other key business metrics which you don't want to improve, but they may not be negatively impacted. So think of your company, and I'm sure you recognize this at many companies. You have internally quite some conflicting KPIs. And it's your main job to improve your primary KPI. But when doing so, by all actions you're taking, you shouldn't harm the KPIs of your colleagues. And therefore, it's very important to set these guardrail metrics. So we add them here to the measurement framework. And in our case, it was the subscription cancellations, because it was my job to actually focus on the growth, on the revenue growth, and getting the upgrades. But yeah, if I'm making any changes and customers are leaving in the end, yeah, then you're still not contributing to the bigger picture of the company. So because this turned out being a negative business case, we decided to not implement this change and moved on to new test hypothesis. And based on our customer behavior and feedback we got, we thought, okay, the namings of our add-on components are quite vague, especially the bottom one, extra apparaten, means additional devices, could be anything. So we thought if we change these titles to better reflect what kind of products a customer can find behind it, the interaction with the component will increase because we increase the outcome expectancy. We did that for television, but also for the internet, here the television, and here for internet. So we also changed the titles. Again, we ran the test for 4 weeks. I got the results. And actually, the interaction decreased by 34%. And this huge drop in opens of the add-on component decreased also our add-on additions by 5%. And the remove, so if a customer had in mind to remove any add-on, they could still find it. We didn't find any proven difference there. Looking into the main product, the upgrades increased by 5%, and there was no proven difference on the downgrades of the main product. And from the previous test, we've learned, okay, always look at your guardrail metric. So we did, and look, wow, it was positively impacted by this change. So our subscription cancellations decreased by 4% by this change. And that made it, again, a positive business case. So now, please, all stand up again. If you're saying great results, the guardrail metric and the financial results now are positive, implement and continue, please sit down. Don't be afraid. You're in business. Do what you do in business. So then you need to sit down if you're saying implement. But indeed, the other option, wait, I want to know more, let's dive deeper. And that's what I did, because and it's funny, actually, because I often see, let's say, 2 types of people, the ones who are always on the hunt for something new, and the ones who want to know every single detail. And I'm the one who wants to know every single detail, like playing that game and trying to win for 14 years. I don't give up easily. I know sometimes it's enough, but again, I dig deeper. And because we connected our optimized data to the Content Squared tool, we could look into the customer behavior from both test variants. And I wanted to know, because our success metric, namely the add-on additions, decreased, But our guardrail metric got positively impacted. So I wanted to know what had happened here. And then when I looked at these tap rates from the Content Square tool, I saw that actually the category fixed telephony got increased. So more customers clicked on that category. So we assumed that in our control, where we had these fake names for our add-on components, and we had the name additional devices, that customers would expect to find their fixed telephony under that component. And by optimizing these names, that we could help them quicker to the telephony category page, and they moved there. But I was wondering, because we never really looked into our fixed telephony anymore, because it's a dying product, not many sales, so we kind of left it out of the analysis. So here it really helped us to look into unexpected results. But still, you know they're clicking there, but what did they do? And overall, we saw that there was no proven difference on the main product downgrades. But looking into the different categories, we found that 8% more customers got rid of their fixed telephony subscription. So that brought us to the assumption that if we make it easier for customers to cancel their fixed telephony subscription, they stay longer with Ziggo. So that was a very interesting insight to take and to create new test ideas on, if it would be that easy. So by tracking multiple metrics, we actually gained additional insights, and we discovered that we actually triggered an unexpected behavior. So we add another layer here to the measurement framework, namely the secondary metrics. And these secondary metrics are really here to help you understand why your success metrics has been positively impacted, and also why your guardrail metric has been impacted in a certain way. So it really helps you to better understand what happens with the customer behavior. And even though we increased our business case, or got a positive financial result, we decided to challenge ourselves and come up with a new design which would still decrease the amount of customers leaving Ziggo, but without harming the add-on additions. So we went back to the drawing table, came up with a new design. We still thought, okay, hey, we need to do something with the names of the add-on components, the titles. So now we changed only the bottom one to make it clearer. And to keep the attention on the add-on components for customers to better find it, we added buttons to it. And we did the same for internet. And in this case, we actually changed our success metric into the subscription cancellation, and the add-on component of the add-on additions became our guardrail metric. So after 4 weeks, I got the results, and the subscription cancellations again decreased. So that was good news. Looking into the other metrics, changing the title still decreased the interaction with the component. But this time, the drop-in opens didn't hurt any of the metrics here. So the add-on additions wasn't impacted, nor the add-on removes, upgrades, downgrades, all was no proven difference. If we then look at the different categories, we found that there was no proven difference in internet, television, and fixed telephony. So coming to the business case, this turned out being a positive business case. So I could ask you again at this time to stand up, but I kind of know already what your decision probably would be. But this time, actually, I was okay implementing it at this time. So it seems quite safe, we can implement, but I still wanted to discover a bit more. So I wanted to know, hey, okay, the subscription cancellation decreased, but is there a difference in the users? So we found out that the subscription cancellations got mainly decreased by mobile users. And on desktop, there was no proven difference. Looking then into the telephone downgrade, because we found the connection or the correlation before, we saw that, again, for the mobile users, they increased the cancellation for the fixed telephony subscription. So again, we saw certain correlation there. So by breaking down the results per segment, gave us actually valuable insights for next test hypothesis. And that is the final layer I want to add to the measurement framework. That's the segments. Got a bit stuck here, I don't know. Hope you can all see it. Okay, so the segments is the final layer I add to the measurement framework. And it's important to note that actually the secondary metrics and the segments can help you to get valuable insights for your next test hypothesis, but you shouldn't draw too hard conclusions on these. So it's mainly on your success metric and your guardrail, whether to improve or impact positive or negatively. But you shouldn't. But these are mainly for getting additional insights and continuing your new test and to use in your next test hypothesis. So a successful experimentation actually requires a holistic view of all your data. And always consider a broader impact by setting up guardrail and success metrics. And this comprehensive approach avoids KPI tunnel vision and ensures that you actually make decisions on a better understanding of your customer behavior, but also on your business impact. So, getting back to the cards. Even though you have the data, deciding whether to implement the change or not isn't always as straightforward. Just as my future family-in-law, that they deviate from the original rules of the game, each company has to set also their own rules. And we decided to not implement one of the changes we did where we actually had a positive impact on the revenue, but the decision might differ per company. So, what criteria did you set with your company to declare a change as a winner or not? This measurement framework can help you to get this conversation started within the company and also to structure all the different metrics you might have. So, thank you all.
Thank you so much, Marit, for your insights. I'm sure there are a few questions in the room, right? Anybody brave enough to come up with a question?
See a hand over there and there.
A hand over there. Can somebody with a mic please come here and hand over the mic? Okay, thanks for the flexibility here in the audience.
Hi, how do you exclude the bias of persons that are going online already to cancel their subscription?
You mean like with the ABI test where we found because otherwise it might have happened also in the control if they're online. So the total numbers of people is so big that that is excluded actually of it. So it's all, statistical with the numbers and the confidence that we can say, hey, it's not on the bias or there is not.
Yeah, thanks.
There's another question here. Thanks, Indy.
Hi, thank you for the interesting talk. What makes you select a certain metric as a guardrail or as a segment or as a primary metric?
Yeah, it takes sometimes some time indeed to understand what can impact your customers. So it's good to understand, hey, in what kind of field or environment am I optimizing? What is all? Yeah, you can drill down to like actually anything, but then you can at one point you see, hey, what is most important and what contributes to your primary objective. So if you then drill it down, and then you need to pick it, and it might be different per test. So even the guardrail in this case, because we are in an environment where existing customers log in, then the churn is very relative. But even once we had a test actually that was done on the prospect journey, and they changed something that it actually became harder for existing customers to change their package. And it was a winner for them. But then I found out that because it became harder for existing customers to change their package, that so many customers were leaving Ziggo as well at that time. So yeah, it's in the beginning hard, but you try in the beginning to get as much data as possible and then pick what is most relevant actually and see. And I was actually surprised sometimes as well that even by little change, you could impact certain metrics which you wouldn't expect. So yeah, be open in the beginning, I would say.
Thank you.
So let's take one more question here.
Yes, related to what the previous visitor asked, do you face organizational challenges when you have a certain KPI you're experimenting on and it hurts another team's KPI? How do you keep an oversight and make decisions then when there are conflicting interests?
Yeah, so definitely indeed. Yeah, good question. Yeah, and therefore it's actually also good to start the conversation up front. So if you have a project or if you have something in mind that you discuss, hey, what could be our guardrail metric? And we only implement a certain change if our guardrail metrics aren't negatively impacted. So that can be a clear decision you make up front. But yeah, still, it gets into a conversation. So what I expected up front, when starting A/B testing would be so easy to implement a change. It's not always as that. So yeah, it is in the conversation. And also per company different if they want to implement something, go only for the revenue, or also taking the customer behavior into consideration. So, yeah.